2 seconds.
Sure, how many Sabre players we'd have had today after Newcastle winning? You got a couple boards in this for Newcastle.
The Ainsley brothers were both there. Yeah, quite a few, I think.
Josh is, Mayhew is as well, isn't
Mayhew, yeah. I don't know if he was there, but yeah.
he? Yeah.
I'm just hoping they keep bottling it, but just at least for another 3 or 4 games, so that my team can snatch the league. But I think we're clutching at straws, but you never know.
Yeah,
They
that'd be
blew a
some
12,
collapse, that would be.
they blew a 12-point lead before, haven't they? So it'll be interesting.
Just hold it down here. There you go.
I'd literally just twist that, guys. That's what it's all about, because he's a one-man band. So just give me a second, and I'll.
Are they just numbers? Yeah, 1 to 4. Wait a minute. Yeah.
Greyhounds opening up doors. Well, welcome to the Repost Non-League Show, and we're here for the next hour and a little bit. And of course, we're really pleased to say today we've got a real Isthmian North feeling and a real sort of title race that's really started to take shape in the Isthmian North. And of course, joining us is Paul from Bury Town. Welcome, Paul.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Stuart from Felixdale 1.
Evening.
And we've got Steve, of course, from Brentwood Town.
Evening.
And of course, so joining us tonight, of course, he's Lee Dorling, of course, chairman of the Essex Senior League, and of course, Ashley as well, with, of course, the semi-final draw. So, guys, if you don't mind, we'll do the draw first, and then we'll come to you guys afterwards. But an interesting draw, some decent sides still left in, Lee.
Yes, it's mapped out quite interestingly with a few little surprises in the last round, which has left us with 4 interesting teams, really.
Do you want to let us know who's left in, Lee?
Yeah, so just for the numbers for the draw, number 1 is Great Wakering Rovers, number 2 is Tately, number 3 is Little Oakley, and number 4 is White Ensign.
Who would you say is your favourite for it then?
Well, on current form, probably Tately. But like you've just been talking about before we come on air, the things are happening at the end of the season. Teams win and lose, and the actual form goes out the window sometimes in a cup game. So we'll see what happens with that.
Absolutely. Well, over to you then. We'll let you pull them out.
Yeah, no. So Lee will pull the home teams out, and I've got the bad one of pulling out the away team. So
out of the Errington Cup, which I just happened to have on the table. So number 4
This white ends on.
Yep.
We'll play number 3.
Little Oakley.
Number 1.
Great Wakery Rovers.
Just to conclude the draw and to show it's all legit. Number 2.
And that's to Takeley.
Yeah.
That's an interesting semi-final. Great Wakery against Takeley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, two form sides, but to be honest, Little Oakley have got to the final of the of our other competitions, so cup football seems to be their thing. So again, from my side, if you put your money on the outside of that, they're probably the one, right? Yeah, but let's see, semi-finals, who knows?
Interesting. Just a quick question before you. I know you can stay for the conversation, or if you're gonna if you've got somewhere to go to tonight. But I mean, we've got a non-league day coming up. Anything special that you've seen with the Essex Senior League? I know I've seen there's a few bits been posted which are really interesting.
Yeah, we've got a little bit going on. It's a bit of a whirlwind. So we started off. Obviously, we've got some staggered fixtures over the 2 days. We've got West Essex and Woodford playing at home on the Friday night. Then we've staggered the Saturday games. We've got Benfleet kicking off at 12 o'clock. We've got a host of 3 o'clock kickoffs. We've then had Little Oakley v Stanway will be kicking off at 3:30. And then at 7:45, we've got Takeley v Saffron Walden. And quite amazing news for us as well. We've got the Premier League trophy coming along to Benfleet, Buckersteel, and then to Takeley in the evening. So a bit of a, it's a great ground hop for ground hoppers, and it's nice to see a Premier League trophy join the hop with us. So it'll be, it's an amazing occasion. We've created a passport as well for fans to get involved. £30 can get you 4 games across the 2 days. And with that, obviously gains your entry, a bit of free food, some free gifts and whatnot. And we're just trying to push the games as much as we can this non-league day and put it on the map, and then make sure Essex is on the map after non-league day's done. And we see an upturn in big crowds really.
And unfortunately that's probably the closest it's going to get to the Emirates Stadium this year.
Well, look, that's that's for you, yeah. So we'll probably get closer to it than Saka this season. So that is what it is. Mate.
That's a strange one that West Ham are going to be closer than Arsenal.
It's going to be a nightmare, but there we go. What can you do? But at least the Scousers lost yesterday, so we'll all celebrate that. That was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
No dodgy referee decisions.
But yeah, no, we can't. We just can't wait. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of time, a lot of hours gone into creating non-league day, and we just can't wait for it to get started. And for us as well, we're trying to raise a lot of awareness and some money for prostate cancer as well, which is obviously an amazing cause. And one interesting thing we're going to have this year is obviously for prostate cancer, a man loses his life to prostate cancer every 45 minutes. 45. Was it 45? Yeah, 45 minutes. So a host of the clubs are going to be wearing the 45 shirt in them fixtures across the 2 days to raise awareness for the cause and really get behind what we think is a fantastic cause to push.
Absolutely. Right. So any of your clubs that are at home, have you got anything planned for non-league day? Cool.
We're away.
You're away? You're all away?
No, we're at home. I think we're doing a kind of like a free entry, pay what you want type day.
Yeah.
So I think we do that pretty much every year when we're at home. So that should attract a really good crowd down at Felixstowe. So yeah, be a good day.
And Brentwood, of course, am I right in saying you're at Morden?
Yeah, I think they're doing a half price entry to all Premier or any other club that if you bring your season ticket, they get in for a £5 or something like that.
It's going to be an interesting one. But I mean, we're talking about the Eastern North tonight, and but Lee, I mean, your division, just quickly. I mean, your senior division. I mean, is still pretty close at the top of the table, and it's going to be a bit of a fight for step 4 promotion as well.
I think, yeah. Well, as we said earlier, the results have been going backwards and forwards. Woodford had a couple of bad results, and they've picked up again. Tatley was creeping in. And Stanway have stayed quite steady at the top, though they did lose and draw one just recently as well. The real issue is whether anyone manages to break the actual playoff positions at the moment. So yeah, it's interesting. We're quite happy with the way things are panning out as a board, but yeah, we know it's a big step going up to the next division. So we're just making sure that everyone's ready to go up if they do go up.
But he's a pesky manager sitting in 3rd place, and I don't think anybody who was a betting man would bet against him actually winning that league. Down at Barking.
He's done well since he's gone in. So
really well, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be an interesting one to see if he can.
Last week, no one was, when they went to Clacton, and everyone was looking at the result as it started to come in. But obviously they turned it around and won by 2 goals in the end, I think. So it's been good. But as the guys know, the other guys, I spend most of my time obviously watching the Isthmian North because my son plays for Witham, so they've probably seen me around.
This week you've got Waltham Abbey, so there you go. There's a good link into what's going on at the minute.
I think that Waltham Abbey, when we played them just before Christmas, that was the start of the downfall for Witham Town. I'm afraid they stuffed us out of sight and never really been able to get back into it from there. So on a downward spiral, unfortunately.
But there was a funny story about that game when he came down, because I went down to Waltham Abbey to watch the game against Witham, and they got Louis Spence playing from the ex-Hornchurch captain, and one of these couple of guys that I sit with said, "Who's Louis Spence?" I said, "Let me tell you, he's a quality player." Just as I said that, he's then pinged that one from about 30 yards, 35 yards over the keeper into the back of the net. Just turned around, but there you go. That's who Louis Spence is. But it was quite funny. It just happened to work out. But with the Isthmian North, I mean, guys, I mean, with all 3 teams, I mean, were you expecting to, at the beginning of the season, were you pushing for automatic promotion? Was that the aim from all 3 clubs? Start with Bury first, Paul?
Yeah, it was. We missed out last year in the playoffs to our friends Brentwood. So it's my bogey team, to be honest. So yeah, I think everybody will say the same answer. Yeah, that's our aspirations. You hope that's how it's going to pan out. And again, hopefully consistency over the course of the season proves that whoever wins it is the best team.
Steve, would you say the same?
Yeah, listen, I'd say we lost on penalties in the final last year, and there's only one place you can go better, I suppose, and that is to try and win it. I mean, I think the cup runs earlier on in the season probably give us a bit of a rocky start. It's been similar to Felix at one point, and it's taken some going to catch back up. But now we've ended up getting ourselves into the box seat with sort of 7 games to go. And as I say, now I suppose you could say it's in our hands with a 3-point gap, and we just got 7 cup finals where I think if you can win, as I said earlier, if you can win 5 of them, then you'll find yourself at the top of the tree. So there'll be big games, and I'm sure there'll be another twist and a turn in it. But yeah, we're up for it. I'm sure of that.
Stuart?
Yeah, very much the same, really, as Paul and Steve have said. We were all in that playoff mix last year. We've been knocking on the door now for a few years. If our goal wasn't to win the league at the start of the year, there'd probably be something wrong with us all, if I'm honest. So yeah, of course that was the aim, but I think it's difficult, because if you finish second, you might as well finish 5th. To be honest with you, it's a tough position to be in those playoffs, and we all want to avoid it. But unfortunately, there'll only be one of us that does. So yeah, it's a tough one, but yeah, certainly the aim was automatic at the start of the season, and yeah, halfway through the season, with kind of Brentwood and us struggling to get games in because of the cup runs, and Bury, had a really good start. They were a fair bit ahead at one point in terms of points. With us with games in hand, we've sort of both managed to catch it up, and now it's, as Steve said, seven games to go and 7 cup finals for all of us.
I mean, with it though, am I right in saying that Brentwood, and I'm not too sure, I know the only one I'm not sure about is Felix though, so I might be sort of look an idiot here when I say this, but am I right in saying that Brentwood are the only ones with a 3G surface?
Yeah.
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 So would you prefer them to win it so you ain't got to play on 3G in the playoffs?
I don't know. I think our lads don't mind, to be fair. I think because there's so many of them about now, I don't think it really figures in people's minds as much as it used to. We train, I think, board you train on a 4G as well. So
Yeah.
I think it was a thing. I don't think it is now because there's so many about.
Because one of your players, Steve, as well, Connor, he's used to it as well.
Who's that? Sorry,
Connor at yours.
Connor Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's just left.
Oh, is he? Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay.
He left last week. Unfortunately, we've had such a big squad all season. We've probably been going with about 20 players, and we've probably been a little lucky where we've had injuries and people out constantly that we've never really had to leave many people out. But it's just come around with these last 8 games now, and we've had a squad of 20, and it's not fair on sort of 3 or 4 of the boys. They're going to end up finding themselves sat out for the last 8 games, and we had to make a tough decision and let sort of 3 or 4 go last week just to make sure we go with. We got 18 still to go with, but there's a couple who are carrying knocks who are not available at the minute. But yeah, we've ended up having to let a few go just because the deadline's next week, and we don't see it as fair if we try and sort of have our cake and eat it and keep 22 players. It's not right. So yeah, unfortunately, Connor's one of the ones that has gone this week.
With this deadline coming up though, and I know you're in the box seat, Steve, but I mean, same with for Paul and Stuart, and I said the same thing to Billy yesterday. You're in that situation. Do you then start looking at trying to sort of bring in players on dual registrations? Because you do see some teams do that because they think, so well, just in case we're in those sort of playing in those playoffs, we need to get sort of other players in. I mean, is that something that you guys will be looking at, or is that just something that you're not looking to bring any more people, any more in at all?
Well, Muzzy.
I've probably, again, very similar. You're just probably happy with what you've got, but you look at what if, probably definitely in the goalkeeper situation, you don't want to get caught short. Like I say, once that deadline comes and goes, that's it. So I think player-wise, we'll probably all go, yeah, we're probably happy with what we've got. But yeah, goalkeeper's the one we'd be looking at, to be honest with you, just to make sure, like I said, if something was to happen, you've got adequate cover going forward.
Yeah, we had that last year with we had Josh Blunkell break his ribs towards the end of February, and we didn't kind of have an established number 2, if you like. So we were fortunate that we had Danny Crump, the assistant manager's brother, who was able to come in for us. But yeah, certainly the goalkeeper position is one you need to make sure you've got covered. But I think I'd imagine most of us sitting in these chairs are pretty happy with where we're at. And sometimes you bring too many players in towards the end of the season, it can kind of unsettle things. I know it probably did us last year when we signed a few at this sort of just before the deadline. It kind of maybe put a few noses out of joint and maybe unsettled us a little bit as a group. But so it's a fine balance, I think.
Right. I mean, I know you just said you got rid of people because you got a big squad, but I mean, if there was players sort of come available, I mean, would you be there for it?
Again, it's a tough one. We've got good numbers in all positions now. Even the goalkeeper, we signed a backup goalkeeper from Redbridge recently. We've covered all bases again, but we have been looking at it this week just to see, is there 1 or 2 out there that we could potentially draft in case something happened this weekend. So it's one of them. You'd end up having to put a 7-day in for someone this week, and if nothing changed Saturday, you haven't really got you couldn't really bring them in because you've got too many players. But someone could get injured Saturday, and you'd need someone in, and you'd have to put the 7-day in this week to be able to sign them next week. It's a tough one, really. Like, we're happy with where we're at, but you just never know.
I thought that's where Keith had gone tonight. He'd gone over to Ireland to do a bit of scouting.
Yeah, he's gone to sign a couple of boys over there. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Lee and Ash have got to leave us. They're going to go to have got an important meeting to get to. So we'll let you guys go. Thanks for coming on, guys,
Thank
and we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah,
Thank you,
okay.
mate.
Thanks
You
very
take
much.
care.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah,
All
James.
three of you.
Good luck. See you later. Take care.
So with you guys though, I mean, let's just at the moment let's take out the automatic out of the equation for the minute. If you're in the sort of playoffs wise, do you actually have a situation now where you put a goalkeeper on the bench, or will you be getting to that situation? How much does that sort of come into your mind going into sort of playoff games? Like, do I play with all outfield players on the bench, or do I go with, a goalkeeper on the bench? Do you take that risk and not play and not put one on there, Stuart?
I've always done it. I've always just took the risk. Touch wood, I've not been too badly affected to date. So yeah, Harry's who we've got. He's not one to kind of be out injured in terms of muscle injuries and things like that. So I think it would be more of a collision or something like that that could keep him out. But we tend to, yeah, I'd probably go without one just simply because I've not done all year and it stood us in relatively good stead. And I think having 5 subs this year, I don't know how you guys have found it, but I think it's certainly helped. I think it gives you options. I think it's better for the players. I think it's helped us over some weaker teams because I think we can carry a squad where we've got 16 really, really good players, where perhaps some of the lower level sides in our league might have 11 good players and, 2 or 3 subs and maybe some kids on the bench and stuff like that. So I think carrying a full set of 5 on the bench is probably my preference, I suppose.
See? I mean, you're hoping you ain't got to worry about it, but I mean, would you take that risk? Will Keith take that risk?
No, I think listen, we've brought him in case something happens to Melvin goal. But like Stuart's just said, I'll be honest, we've gone with a big squad all season and a very good big squad. So it's helped massively. The subs that we've made during games, the amount of late goals we've had, and I think having that 5 sub rule has helped all the bigger, better sides, if that makes sense, because they've been able to make changes, whereas probably some of the lesser sides have struggled with that. They've had to bring 1 or 2 off. Everyone in our squad could probably fill in for each other. So yeah, I agree with Stuart with that. That's where we've won a lot of games by making the 5 subs.
Are you trying to rub that in, Steve? Or?
Sorry.
Well, what about Berry?
I'm going to put one of the lads in goal Thursday night and just start firing some balls at him and see who does best, if I'm honest. No, yeah, we probably just judge it on the day, really, how we felt about it. I think the goalkeepers union always feel like they're underrated and undervalued. So, but again, it's a decision you make, and again, we'd probably be like Stuart and really that they're something we probably wouldn't do, to be honest with you.
So with the title, then, I mean, as you said, Brentwood are sitting at the top, 76, Bury 73, Felixstowe 72, Waltham Abbey 70. Is it between you 3 for the title, or could you see Waltham Abbey maybe even Brighton City coming through? Because it looks like that's what between the 5 of you that's going to be the playoffs for 4 of you, and one's going to win it. I mean, because there is like a 9-point gap to Tilbury.
I would say Waltham Abbey are probably still in it, to be honest with you. Like I said, they're a good team. I know it's 6 points to Brentwood, but if you were going to say 5 from 7 games, then they're very much still in it. The rest, I would probably say they're not, if I'm honest.
You agree, Stuart? Steve?
Yeah, totally. I think it'd be a tough ask for Waltham Abbey to overturn Brentwood, if I'm honest. I think they're still in it to try and pit like Bury and ourselves, certainly. I think 6 points with 7 games left with the kind of quality that Steve's got in his group, I think is a big ask, if I'm honest. So I think it's going to be tough for Waltham Abbey to win it outright, but I certainly think they're still in with a chance. But yeah, I think if I'm honest, I think the title is with us three because I can't see us all slipping up enough for Waltham Abbey to overturn all three of us. But who knows? Stranger things have happened.
See?
Yeah, it's like as you say, it's you look at it at 6 points and go, it's not that far, but I can't see the three of us all losing 2 or 3 games. It's just not going to happen. We're all at some of us might win all 7. Who knows? But I just can't see us all losing 2 or 3 for them to catch up. So it'll be interesting. As I say, me and Bill did look at the fixtures earlier, and it seems we feel that the Berries and Felixstowe have got some tough games coming up and over the next couple of weeks, and so have we. But when you look on paper, I think Felixstowe have got Galston, who are top of the form guide Saturday. Bury have got to go to Brightlingsea. They're such big games at this point in time, and any slip up for anyone, and it seems it'll change again, and that's what has happened over the last few weeks. We've all been top at one point, so yeah, I think they're probably a little bit too far adrift, but as you say, you never know. Stranger things have happened.
Well, let's sort of start with Brentwood if we can. Then, I mean, tell us a little bit about the club. I mean, a little bit about the players you've got in there, and of course you've got a very quality manager in Keith as well. That's been around the block, for some time. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about the club in general, and and just let us know, how things have been going this year, really, in the last couple of years.
Yeah, me and Keith come in last season. I think the club was around mid-table at the time, but there was only 10 games in, so we had a sort of 3/4 of the season still to go, and we managed to get ourselves in the playoffs, and obviously just missed out to Bowers on penalties last season. But the club's had a massive overhaul in the summer, and it's had the new surface laid, it's had all the bar done up, and yeah, it's a club going in the right direction. I mean, even the crowds now, I think when we came in last season, you were probably lucky if you got a couple of hundred there. And now we played Felixstowe last week. I think there was 750 there. Even Newmarket Saturday, there was 500 there. So the club's really sort of progressed the last year, and fair play to Keith. We've managed to get a good side in, and we've kept sort of the majority of the boys from last season, and added a handful of good boys, and yeah, we've had a very, very good season. So it'll be the icing on the cake if we can manage to win it. And as I say, if we don't, we'll obviously have the interest and thought of playoffs again. But that's obviously not the thought now. Obviously, when you've got 7 games left and you are top, it's a case of now just one big game at a time, and can we get over the finishing line?
Average attendance this year, 378 home attendance.
It's not bad. So last season it would have been, I would have thought, less than 200.
I mean, with those games, though, I mean, you got the games coming up. I mean, as we said, it's Malden Tiptree away, Mildenhall Town at home, then Whittam, then Tilbury, then Wroxham, Basildon, and then Walthamstow.
Yeah. What's the question?
I'm just looking at it. We were saying off air, weren't we? That on paper the fixtures sort of are easier for out of 4 for Abbey, but I mean, there's some trips there now. I mean, some trips to Wroxham. I mean, that's a fair old journey to have to go to.
Yeah, do you know what? I think the way they've done the league this year, because they've done the 4 relegations, they've kept it a lot more interesting rather than, I think it was 1 or 2 last season, and you almost had a 10 team last season who had nothing to play for. Whereas, as you say, we've now got to go to Wroxham, who are fighting for their lives. Basildon again. And then the ones that you've sort of got mid-ish table. I mean, 2 weeks ago, you'd have said sort of Tilbury and Walthamstow are not nice games because they're going for that last playoff spot. But Brightlingsea seem to have got away. So it'll be interesting. As I say, the probably next couple of games are probably more important for everyone, because if Brightlingsea get away and then there's nothing for them to play for, it seems it's a lot easier than going somewhere where they've got something on the line, and clubs might cut budget. You don't know. It's any team in that mid drift of the table. It's if they've got nothing to play for, they could well let players go and stuff. You've seen it happen year after year. So, like you say, when you look at it on paper, there's some okay games there for us, and fingers crossed we can just keep up the form that we're in at the minute.
I mean, the one question I suppose as well would be that around the fact that, you know, if the worst came to the worst and you slipped into that sort of second place for some reason, is that then become a difficult game then if you've then got to take on Brighton instead because you've had that disappointment of being top, and it could be a situation where Felixstowe go top at some stage or Bury go top at some stage, but then maybe on that last day you slip out of that top place and then you know you've got to go into a playoff. How difficult is that then to try and pick players heads up to go again against possibly Brighton, so you may have maybe on a little bit of a run and they've got nothing to lose as such.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I think probably the other boys are probably easier to answer that because last season they were obviously second and third, and we sort of came in late with the likes of Bowers, and it was almost not a free hit for us, but us and Bowers went to Bury and Felixstowe, and you could probably argue they were the favourites last year, and it ended up being us and Bowers in the final, and it was, I think, the highs and lows of it. I think once you've been up there for so long and then you drop into it, you've got to then raise the boys up again, which, listen, I don't think it's an issue, but for some strange reason, it always seems to favour the fourth and fifth place teams who sneak in. They seem to have a tiny advantage for some strange reason.
I mean, let's go back to that. I was talking about before with the Harlow Needham Market situation. Both squads, got over 100 points, over 100 goals, and then Harlow played at home on the Wednesday night against Thurrock, who finished 24 points below them, and ended up getting turned over. Do you know what I mean? I think that was the year Brentwood went up because they then beat Thurrock in the final. So it's always that sort of scenario where that fifth place team becomes a little bit of the bogey side, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Paul, with yourself though, I mean, tell us a little, with Bury itself, tell us a little bit about Bury Town.
Well, me and Cole came in so this is our second season. So the club, nothing who's gone before them. Board's his mate, Chenners. I think they'd underachieved as a club, if I was honest. So it's local. It's only 15 minutes for me. I always looked at them and thought I didn't think it'd take much tweaking to try and get them higher in the league. But again, like I said, the last year and a half has gone really well. They're a good club. It's a really good town. It's quite an affluent town, if I'm honest. So they do deserve to be step 4, step 3 club if we can possibly get them to step 3. Really, it's a really well run club. And I just hope we've just had a little bit to it, just so where they need to be.
Always had a really good following as well.
Yeah, they've got good crowds. It's weird, really, because I thought Ipswich going up would really affect it, and I think our average is slightly down on last season, but not as much as I anticipated. There is a lot of Ipswich season ticket holders last year, but I think it's quite hard to get hold of a season tickets for that now. They're in the Premier League, so I don't think it affected us as much as I thought it would. But now we've got a good crowd, and like I say, I think we all know how much that helps the players when you have got a good home vocal crowd, giving the opposition a little bit of stick.
585 is your average this year.
Is it? Okay, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the club in general, though. I mean, players you've got there and the club. Because I mean, I've only been fortunate enough, sort of like when the missus has pulled me out to a shopping up at Bury in Bury and stuck my head round the sort of entrance doors and stuck my head through to have a quick look. But I mean, tell us a little bit about the club in general.
Like I said, the club, it's a well-run club. The structure with the youth sections is good. Again, it probably the home with the ground being in the centre of town helps. Like I say, there's a lot of people that get dragged shopping to Bury and then leave their missus in the centre of town and walk down to find the football club. So that all helps. In terms of lads, we've obviously brought in. Since we came in, we had a little bit of an overhaul. There's lads that have been there for 10 years plus, and then we've just sort of supplemented and changed things around to get what we've got today.
I mean, the pitch itself, everybody talks about the pitch being a really sort of quality pitch as well.
Yeah, no, Arnie, the groundsman, so we all know what the volunteers do for our clubs individually. So we all, Felixstowe's pitch is really good, and we, we're lucky to have somebody spend that time and effort on it and try and make it look the best it can. So I'm kind of probably still old school with pro grass. I don't know how I'd have got on 4G pitches, but so when you do see it looking really nice, you kind of put your boots on and then walk out on there and realise you can't hardly move just to kick a ball around. So no, but we are thankful for the help we got on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you're running games. Brighton and Sea Regent away, Walthamstow at home, Morden again, of course, away, Redbridge at home, Sporting Bengal away, Mildenhall at home, and then finish off with Wroxham away.
Yeah, it's probably a total mixed bag, isn't there? Like you say, you can look at all games in their entirety and say, as Steve said, as a team, if they mid-table, are they going to cut their budget? We all know it happens, and so that can all affect it. And like I say, Wroxham and Mildenhall are fairly, not too bad journeys for us. Yeah, like you can say, when you look at the fixtures, everybody's got a little bit of everything in there, haven't they? So, no, just look forward to it. And I say the last 2-3 weeks been a bit inconsistent, really. It's been a bit sort of head scratching at times because we've created loads of chances, but maybe not put away the chances to make it really comfortable. And then somebody comes and bites us on the arse like Cambridge City did last week, week before.
But even with the Waltham Abbey game, though, that was a strange game, wasn't it? I mean, I thought he was well in the game, and then all of a sudden it seemed to just sort of turn on a sixpence in the second half.
Yeah, and like I said, it's weird how things can happen in a game when you think you're in control and you're thinking about the subs you can make, and then all of a sudden something happens, whether it's a red card or it's a mistake, and that's what happened in the Waltham Abbey game. And I'm like Charlie Beckworth, he made a mistake, and then that was a turning point of the game, and we just couldn't get to grips with it again for whatever reason. I don't know if panic set in or people didn't want the ball as much. It was a hard one to put your finger on, but deservedly they beat us. I like Board said, I think they're a really good team. I like the way they play. And yeah, like I said, little things in games always change it, don't they?
But are you guys actually looking to finish? I mean, at the minute, I say Stuart and Paul. I mean, are you looking to sort of finish second if you can't get the first? Is that the position? Because I know some people say I'm not really bothered, but it gives you that home advantage for semi, and then if you win that, you've got the home advantage for the final as well.
I think so. Yeah, like you want to finish as hard as possible. Like I know people say first is first and second's nowhere, but I think we all are, all our chairmans want that home game in the playoff just for the revenue. And like I said, if you can get a little advantage by having a sort of a good home crowd, but some people like playing away and find it like the pressure's off a little bit. So yeah, from our point of view, of course, we'd like to finish second, and if we're not going to get first and play at home.
Stuart, I mean, tell us a little bit about Felixstowe.
Yeah, so I think I had a year playing there, right at the back end of my career when to be honest, my body was falling apart like Muzzy's is now, and absolutely loved it. Like genuinely, I was at Leiston as a player for 10 years. Didn't think I'd have that kind of feeling towards a club again. Played for him for a year, loved it, and then when I came out of management at Leiston, the chairman contacted me. I went over and knew it was the right thing to do straight away. And to be fair, like we joined, club were bottom when we joined of the Isthmian North. Kev O'Donnell and Ian Watson had done a great job to get them there in the first place. And we just felt it was a club like with a big crowd behind it, much like Bury, real loyal people that have been there a long time, that we felt we could move it forward. And I'd like to think we have. I think it's been really steady, kind of slow growth, if you like. I remember playing at Felixstowe when it was in front of about 50 people and a dog one time, and now we've got crowds of 300-400 all the time, 500-600-700 at times. And yeah, I think, like what Muzzy said, really, we were a bit worried about the Ipswich contingent. You know, obviously our crowds have dropped away a little bit since they've been doing so well, but I think them being in the Premier League has almost helped us this year because we had a lot of games clashing last year with 3 o'clock kickoffs, whereas this year, you know, how often is a Premier League game Saturday at 3 o'clock? You know, so I think probably we've all benefited from that a little bit. Next year may be slightly different for us because it doesn't look great for them at the moment. But you know, it's a great club, family run club, and I think that's probably evident in the players and the playing staff, the coaching staff we've got. I think I'm right in saying that I'm the longest serving manager in the league now. Someone told me the other day, which seems strange at like 5.5 years, to be honest with you, when, you know, Bury had Richard Wilkins, who was there for, you know, probably longer than I am old. But, you know, it's a club where people want to stay at. A lot of the players, you know, we don't have a high turnover. A lot of the players are there for the long term. And yeah, it's just a really good club, really good feel and good atmosphere to be around. So yeah, it's been great.
Did I see though that you're leaving at the end of the year?
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up, but yeah. So me and Andy have just decided it's been a long 6 years. You know, I don't think people that haven't been in the positions that Muzzy and Steve and that occupy, I don't think they realise how much time goes into football at our level. You know, we don't have, you know, 10 sports analysts and all sorts of stuff looking at games for us. It's very much like us rooting around other managers and talking to them and getting VO clips and doing our homework ourselves. And it's really time consuming. And I think after 6 years, it just feels like the right time to kind of have a break, basically.
Would you change your mind though if you get to step 3?
Absolutely not. No.
Huh?
No, it's yeah, we spoke about it at the start of the year, and I think the only thing that kind of had us thinking about it was, as you say, you know, we didn't want to get Felixstowe to step 3 and then be the managers that sort of said all the best, see you later, we're off, and that type of thing. But I think as the season's gone on, we've both just realised it's the right time for us both. I think it's the right time for the club. I think the club need some new ideas, a new direction potentially, and we think that we've got the club in as strong a possible position, regardless of what league we're in, for whoever comes in next to be a success. So yeah,
Be a great way to go out though, wouldn't it?
I'd be fantastic. Yeah, equally a terrible way to leave if we don't, you know. So yeah, it's one of them, you know. We'll work as hard as we humanly can, and whatever happens, happens. And you know, if we don't make it, then it won't be for want of trying. And as long as you've got no regrets with what you've done, which we won't have regardless, then that's all we can really do.
I mean, your remaining fixtures though: Galston this week at home, then Sporting Bengal away, Heybridge Swifts at home, Grays away, Morden at home, Ipswich Wanderers away, and then finish off with Mr. Beardwell and Whittam Town at home.
Yes, it's you know, as Steve said earlier, I think we've all probably looked at the fixtures and each other's fixtures. I think you can look at it a million and one different ways and say, oh, well, you know, on paper theirs is slightly easier. But then I would say we had a relatively, on paper, good run in last year, and our form was dreadful in that final sort of 5 or 6 games. You know, like we were playing Ipswich Wanderers, who for them it was a complete dead rubber, whereby, you know, they knew they weren't going down because of the reprieve that they'd had. Yeah, you know, we didn't get 3 points. So it can work many different ways. You know, not having anything to play for can take the pressure off other teams and just allow it to be a free hit. And of course, like when these teams who are potentially in mid-table come to the likes of Brentwood and Bury and Felixstowe and playing in front of 700-800 people, they're not just going to go through the motions. They're gonna, you know, their managers are going to be saying, well, look, you know, these lads, you can go out and cause a real upset here and go and impress, and that's what they'll try and do. So it can work many different ways, and yeah, I think I don't think there's a lot in the fixtures. I think it's just a case of whichever team manages to string together 5 or 6 games in a bit of form will end up winning.
364, your average home attendance.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Pretty-
think it's probably been much of muchness for quite a few years now. Probably last 3 or 4, very similar. As I say, like we do struggle with Ipswich, being so close to them. When their games clash, it probably will affect our gate by 150 people at least, I'd say. But we've got some big games coming up. We expect a big crowd Saturday. We don't clash with Ipswich, non-league day, that type of thing. So I fully expect there to be 600 or 700 in there on Saturday. Yeah, and yeah, they make a fair bit of noise. We've got a real young contingent, which seems strange for the Felixstowe population that have joined us in the last sort of month or so, which has been great because I think we've got a real loyal band of supporters, but inevitably we need that next generation to be coming through, and I think that's really come to the fore in the last month, which has been great. So yeah.
Is there any concerns for all three of your clubs? So if you do, because I asked Billy this question as well yesterday. If you do get up, is there any concerns that you might get moved sideways?
Move
So,
sideways
into
into the Southern League.
into the Southern League.
I think certainly me and Muzzy will if we go up. I think we're all kind of, or certainly we are anyway. I don't know about you, Paul, but we're kind of resigned to the fact that we'll get moved into the league with Leiston if they're still in it, Sudbury, and that Southern League, which will be a different challenge altogether because it's recruiting probably a really different pool of players over that way. Obviously, Steve will head into the Isthmian Premier, but that's, I think, probably us and Bury would move into that Southern League certainly, and I think that's the general guidance, shall we say, we've been given by the leagues over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it actually works quite well for me, so I'm not that fussed.
Well, I'm not fussed either, Muzzy, because it's not going to be me.
No.
Steve, do you feel absolutely safe?
I think we'd obviously go into the Roman Prem, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any other league that they could put us in. You know, so I think we're resided to. That's where we'll be going regardless.
Well, because that would be going to the Southern League Premier South, and the thing with that is of course as well is that if you're into the South, you would go. I think is it South or would you Central? I'm going to double check. But if it is the South, of course, there is a team sitting in the Southern League South that's in second place, and that could be a nice little journey for you because there's a club called Mousehole, which are the furthest westerly club in the country. So they're literally just before you fall off the edge of the fall off the edge down by Land's End. So that could be a nice little trip.
Yeah. Not for us.
I think Steve might hand in his resignation like me then.
We're going to have an holiday together.
Well, you say that, funny enough, this year Didcot, who literally are, I mean, I'm in Waltham Abbey myself, but they're about an hour away from where I am. And this year they were champions of the playoffs for the Southern League Central, got up into the division above, got relegated and got put into the South League. And last weekend they actually played Mousehole, and Mousehole had to travel 7.5 hours just for the game. And their actual travelling time, their travelling miles is over 8,500 miles in a season. That's how far they travel.
Crazy.
Right, well, is it?
But of course, it's what you said, Steve. There's literally no other league they can go into because literally of where they are. So that was the difficult thing. I'm just trying to see where. Let's get it and find it. 2 seconds.
Be interesting bus journeys anyway.
Yeah, but so would you go? I mean, again. I mean, if that actually happened, I mean, we'll stay with you, Paul, because you're the only one that it'll probably affect. would you actually get to that stage of, would that cause you problems then with recruiting? Because all of it, as you just said, it was said it's in a different sort of way around the way around. Also, as well, would you lose money for also as well when it comes to budget wise as well because of the amount of money it's going to cost to travel to the different areas?
Well, they're all things you discuss, aren't they? At the end of the day, you discuss your travel, your costs, recruitment, where you're going to go with that. Again, recruitment wise, we've gone that way with a couple of 2 or 3 lads, because it's not, if you're looking at Cambridge, it's not a million miles from us. So,
Wait with them and I'll come back.
but again, if it would it affect the budget? I don't think it would. But at the same time, we're all trying to save money, aren't we? So if you can, is it sensible that you're in step 3 and you're asking lads to go in cars? Probably not really. So you've got to set your own standards, haven't you? So, but then again, you've got to be reasonable with it as well. So I don't really know, if I'm the honest answer. I think everything's got to be considered, and you've got to have a justification of what you're spending and how you're going about it.
Well, good news. You wouldn't go into the south by the looks of things. You go in with, as you said, with Sudbury. So it'd be the Premier Central. So you got at the minute. I don't know how this sort of takes you if you was to get there, and what is the furthest away from you. But you got Sudbury, AFC Telford, Alvechurch, Banbury United, Barwell, Bedford Town, Biggleswade Town, Bishop Stortford, Bromsgrove Sporting, Halzowen Town, Harbour Town, Hitchin, Kettering, Leiston, Lowestoft, Redditch, Royston Town, Spalding, St Ives, Stamford, Stourbridge, and Stratford Town.
Yeah. So maximum is probably just over 2 hours, maybe. So yeah, I was only speaking to Dave Williams at Leiston on Friday night, and it would be nice if everybody, no disrespect to Brentwood, and it wouldn't affect us, but it'd be nice if Felixstowe and us got up, and Lowestoft, Sudbury, and then that everyone was in together, wouldn't it, Boards?
It'd be lovely. We've been trying to get that for a while, haven't we? But it's not quite worked out.
No.
And Needham look like they might survive in the league above now, don't they? So
yeah,
a few results.
So travelling wise, you might end up as quite a few local derbies, but yeah. So
I think it makes a lot of difference as well when you look at it as well, Steve. When you look at the Vanarama South, there's a lot of clubs that are in that relegation zone or around that relegation zone that if they drop down, they're more than likely going to be going into the Eastbourne Prem.
Yeah, I think as you say, you've got what have you got? You got
Abley down there, Abley, Welling.
Yeah, Welling are over the bridge though. They'll probably go into the southeast division, wouldn't they, with all the Kent sides? So they would do that. I mean, Enfield Town they would no doubt would drop into it because that's where they come from, same as Averley. So yeah, it'd be them two, and what's the other one? Weymouth, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Averley and Enfield Town, if they were the two out of the lot down there, they would go into the Prem. If we obviously did, it would be us, and I think all the other sides in there, apart from Waltham Abbey could potentially get drafted over to the same as Felixstowe and that. So I think there's only us that would go into that anyway. Brightland Sear up that way. I think it'd only be ourselves who'd go into the Prem.
Which is quite handy, I suppose, in a way, because of the amount of clubs, as you just said, coming down to try and fill that space in that Eastbourne Prem.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of them. It's all hearsay at the minute. It's all nice to see what ifs and what ifs, but we still got a big 6 weeks to go, all of us.
So how exciting and how sort of for you guys is it? Forget the players for the minute. How sort of exciting is it? Every Saturday or a Tuesday, whenever you're playing, how sort of do you keep yourself sort of like grounded a little bit when you're going to these games? Is that difficult as well? Because as you sleep, you know what I mean? I mean, is it that sort of situation where you're getting a bit excited now with only a short period of time to go?
I think where it's no midweek games really anymore. You've got Tuesdays and Thursdays to train with the boys and it's a bit more relaxed now because you're sort of set in that position now. It's not like the early part of the season where you've got games constantly coming up and cup games and player turnaround and stuff. I think the last 2 months, once you're in a position that we all are, it's pretty much all set in stone now, and you just take game by game and week by week, so you can enjoy it a tiny bit more. Obviously, the stakes are a little bit higher, but I think that's what we all do it for. You know, I don't think we'd want to be one of the mid-table teams where you're turning up for the last 7 games and you're almost just there for the sake of it, if that makes sense.
Stuart, I mean, how are you feeling going into these last, personally?
I think personally, just trying to enjoy it as much as I can. Obviously, just taking the view that got 7 weeks left, 7 games left, or whatever, and I won't. Many of these grounds I possibly won't be returning to, so it's very much like saying goodbye to the grounds where we're thankful we're not going to again. There's I won't name them, but there's a few. And then, of course, there's ones where like at Brentwood the other week, playing in front of 750 fans or managing in front of 750 fans on a good surface. They're the ones where you go, I just really want to enjoy it, because you don't know when you're going to get that again. So yeah, just really trying to enjoy it as best we can under the kind of microscope or pressure, if you like, that of course all of us are under to some degree. So yeah, it's just exactly that, really.
7 weeks until you've got to catch up with all your DIY that your missus has been making a nice list for you.
Oh mate, I had my 3rd child this week, so it's like, you talk about sleepless nights from football. It's certainly sleepless nights at the moment, and it ain't football. So yeah, it's DIY is well on the back burner.
Paul, what about you, mate?
I definitely don't lose any sleep. No, quite lucky, to be fair, because we've all been in the positions before, or felt it and been in and around it. I was at Stone and was the same. So I don't, being number 2, I'm definitely more relaxed than I ever was as a number 1. So I'll let Scousey do the worrying, and that's why he's going grayer by the day, I think. But no, I think that said, you've got to try and enjoy it. I think when you've been there before and you kind of know what you're heading into, you try and approach it slightly differently and try and manage the players slightly differently, and you can try and sense the ones that need a little chat and little ones that need a little bit of firing up because they're maybe you think they're too relaxed. So I think it's more from my point of view. My point of view is just trying to speak to the lads and try and see how they're feeling and making sure that they've got everything they need around them, so when they cross the white line, they can do the business.
Is it the same for you guys as well with the players? Just try to keep them grounded a little bit now, and just trying to get them to just still concentrate on what's coming up.
Well, we all lost in the playoffs, didn't we? So if we've got lads that have experienced it anyway, haven't they? So you'd like to think, I know you say it's another game, but like having experienced it, I think most of the lads will treat it like that, rather than, there's a lot of hype around a game like a playoff game, but you'd like to think that they can relax enough.
Is it the same for you, Steve and Stuart? Is there sort of a change in atmosphere in the changing room?
I think yeah. Sometimes I think we've missed out. I don't want to count how many years we've missed out in the playoffs. So there's a lot of boys in our group that have missed out. They've missed out. Obviously have some boys that with Muzzy at Stowmarket in our group now that have missed out. Equally, we've had boys that have been successful in playoffs. So I think it's just those kind of bigger characters, like for us, like your Jack Ainsleys of the world, who have been there and done it at that level, to kind of make sure the younger lads are relaxing and just doing what they do week in, week out, because ultimately you're in the position you're in because you've been the 3rd best side in the league or the 2nd best side in the league or whatever. So it's just about relaxing and making sure they just do exactly what they have done for the previous weeks and make sure they handle the pressure of it.
Steve, is it still bubbling in your dressing room?
Yeah, I think the highs of last week, I suppose, when we played Felixstowe, the boys have been obviously buzzing the last couple of weeks because it was a dramatic game. Obviously, scoring 2 late goals to nick the 3 points. The atmosphere at the club was superb. So I think they're almost flying high at the minute. It's just whether you can keep that buzz going for a few more weeks to try and get over the line. You know, we've got quite an experienced bunch, so I think they know when it comes to it come 3 o'clock on a Saturday. They know what's required now. So yeah, I think they're riding the wave at the minute, and the longer that can go on for, I suppose, poses well for us.
Oh, one question. I just saw his name come up. Who's watching? So I need to ask Stuart a question. But I mean, how are you getting on with your new physio?
Oh, me, yeah, John. Is
Yeah.
is he watching? Is he?
Yeah, because I know him well because I was at Enfield Town last year, so I know him really well.
Busy old bastard, isn't he? Eh? He's been great. You know, like it timed really well. I've had a physio with me for the last 4 or 5 years, Charlotte, and she went and really selfishly mid-season got pregnant. So I'm just kidding. And yeah, John had contacted us last summer actually because he'd moved to Felixstowe and kind of done the whole retirement thing. So we didn't have a place at the time. And then obviously when Charlotte said she was gonna be moving away at Christmas to go and do the family thing, what kind of worked out really well. And John's kind of come in and settled in nicely. And yes, it's kind of been relatively seamless from our point of view. So it's been great.
There you go. Step 3 playoff winner last year. Well, not a player, but
I'll tell him to bring his boots Saturday then.
no, don't do that. Whatever you do. But at least he had that last year as well. He's about 2 years in a row. Well, listen, guys, it's been fantastic having you join us tonight, and I'll let you get back to your family. So, massive thank you for that. Wish you all the very, very best for the rest of the season, and I know only 2 of you can get up. But wish you all the best with that, and hope things go the way you want them to go, and get up into that step 3 place.
Cheers,
Thanks
Dave.
very much.
All the best, chaps.
And of course, we'll be back next week with another Repost on Leeds show. And of course, don't forget, tomorrow night Wednesday night you can get to see the Southern League Goal Show on their YouTube channel. And coming very soon as well, a brand new podcast coming with myself and Martin Underhay, and it's going to be called Respect the Whistle. And it's going to be a refereeing podcast, of course. Martin Underhay, the king of TikTok when it comes to refereeing. So make sure you watch that. But that will be coming very soon. But from me, from Steve, from Stuart, and from Paul, a massive thank you for watching, and good night.